you know? It just feels like I'm not being valued.
Drop it down, pick it up, touch it flow.
Yo, Lynn, that famous influencer chick just shouted you out.
No way.
Really feeling it tingle.
Oh my god.
I just really need to get away from the chaos.
We should do a weekend getaway now.
Who's ready to go glamping? Stop the car.
Well, that's not creepy at all.
I don't feel good about this.
Everyone chill. Just do some box breathing.
You know about box breathing?
I've been to therapy just like everyone else.
You know, if it were up to me, I'd stay in here with you all weekend long. But you really have to join him.
Yo, get down here.
You look so cute.
Doesn't that bug you? Everyone drooling over your girlfriend online.
I'm not a jealous person.
Oh, your phone. Hello? Is anyone there?
Who was that?
No idea. The vibes are off. It's one of the most beloved rentals on the site. Highly rated.
Oh shit, what was that?
I don't know. Let's look outside. Oh no!
Oh, shit.
You're all so determined to ignore the warning signs of the spiritual plane.
Hello? Why is everything a joke to you?
Oh.
Why don't we just get through this weekend and we can stop pretending to enjoy each other's company?
Relax.
You realize how self-centered you are.
Oh, I'm self-centered? What?
This place is messed up. No one has to know what actually happened here. How did you find me? I'm really scared right now. Please send help.
Hey, hey, hey. That was the trailer for Glamping. It is out now on Tubi. It came out on Friday, so it's streaming right now for spooky season. Did everyone like the trailer? See who's here. Hey, Atia. I see my family from the East Coast. Where's everybody streaming in from? Just want to wait a few seconds. Everybody put in the comments where you are from. Philly in the house. Love that, love that. Yes. Oh, I see somebody. Okay, okay. Another person from Philly. Is that you, Tirza? All right. Love my East Coast family. I am, yes, Cali. Okay. I am in Los Angeles right now. Yes, Louisiana. Okay, I see you. I see you. Okay, family. Well, my name is Deshawn Plair. I am a producer, writer, and director. Most recently, just did a project called Glamping on Tubi. It is a part of their studio project. There was a creator, her name was Rosemary Adisi, who won a short film competition to turn her short film into a feature. And so we got a chance to bring that, to fruition for her. So it was a co-pro between Megamind Media and my production company, Flower at Films, which I am a co-owner of. I co-own this company with my writing and producing partner. Her name is Sade Onyade. She's an amazing, producer who has been in the industry for 20 plus years, worked behind the scenes in documentary filmmaking, as well as scripted. And so she and I are co-owners of Flower at Films. And so Glamping is our latest project that we're so excited for everyone to see. It's our first thriller. We've done drama, we've done comedy, but we've never done thriller. Sade, Halloween is her favorite season. And so this was really cool for us to do. So you guys should really check it out. So hi, Delise. Yes. I love family is on here. Thank you guys so much for supporting. But yeah, so let's go ahead and dive right in. I love this series, Real Success, because you get a chance to hear from industry professionals and just, just different people about, different topics. And, when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about, I really wanted to talk about something that's so real. Like, what do you do in the meantime, in between time? And so everyone who knows me, knows that, hey, I'm just going to keep it all the way real. This industry is super tough, super, super, super tough. So you really have to, stay focused and you have to stay encouraged, but there's going to be downtime. I feel like everybody wants to work, want to work on this project and do that. But the reality is you probably are going to work like maybe half the year. If you're working full time, the Lord has been good to you. Okay. That is not the norm all the time, especially if you're doing independent filmmaking. And if you are a creator, there is going to be downtime. Even the Oscar winners, okay, the biggest of the biggest have downtime. And so we need to learn how to manage that downtime, manage our expectations. And then, how can we prepare for what's next? Right? I think because we have to normalize it. We got to reframe our mind. And like I said, the industry, it runs in waves. And so this downtime, don't doubt yourself, because I've been there where I've had 8 months off, almost a year off. And I was pulling my hair out. I was going crazy. Like, what do I do? And so I had to chat with people. I had to chat with mentors. I had to call, Tressa. She is the co-founder of Megamind Media. I had to call her several times and she's given me encouraging words. I had to call my family to pray. I've had to talk to, my friends and people who are going through the same thing. And so these are a collective of thoughts that people have either imparted on me, prayers that have dropped in my spirit, and then things I'm actively doing. Okay, so first point I wanted to talk about was the reality in the in between. Okay, you are still a filmmaker, you are still a creator, even if you're not on set. Let me say that one more time. You are still a filmmaker, you are still a creative, even if you're not on set, even if you don't have a gig, you're still that creator. All right. So when the phone's not ringing, it doesn't mean that you've lost your gifts. It just means that you got time to refocus. Yes, you are a creative, period, with the T, period. Okay. You are a creator. So you have to stay in that mindset. Right. And so I know, my family, they know I talk about money a lot. Okay. So we're going to talk about money. Right. A lot of people think, oh, money and creative, that don't make. Yes, it does. It does. Okay. So you got to treat the good seasons like a harvest. You got to set aside 20% of each check for your downtime. Let me say that one more time. Set aside at least 20% for the downtime. Now, I know you have bills that you have to take care of, as you're working, but you got to set that money aside, right? I think we get so, we're so artsy and we're so this that we don't think about it as a business. But we have to set that money aside, right? You have to learn how to budget and how to manage money. I recently downsized, right? I moved to a smaller place, a place that was more economical, because I knew that, there was like 8 months in between these projects that I had. And so I didn't like that feeling. So I was like, okay, I need to really start focusing on my budget. I need to start focusing on the things that were going to be important to me, right? And I said, how am I going to meet these goals? And how I'm going to meet these goals is I need to be able to sustain myself in those seasons. And so what I did was I started putting money aside when I was working out of each check. I began to start budgeting. You can use apps like Simplify. It's a really great app. It's a budgeting app that you can download. There's also an app called YNAB. It stands for You Need a Budget, okay? Or NerdWallet. And these are simple apps that you can download. They'll help you track your expenses. Like, are you eating out a lot? Do you have these subscriptions? And Yeah, budgeting is not rocket science. It is a responsibility. We have to really focus in on our money, right? Money gives us options. Okay. And so when we're, if we have options, if we're not, stressing out about this or that, then we can be selective in the work that we do, the projects that we do. We're not just trying to jump on anything, we're not begging people. And so you have to have options. So you got to be smart with your money. So YNAB, which is an app called You Need a Budget, is a really, really great user-friendly app that you can download and to do it. And don't be afraid to talk about money, with people. You know what I mean? So you have to do what we have to do as creatives, right? Cancel any unused subscriptions that you're not, using. Look, okay, I'm gonna be real. I watch certain shows, and when them shows is off, okay, I'm gonna cancel that. Okay, so sometimes you got to cancel your, subscriptions that you're not using. Just find creative ways to budget. Maybe you're not eating out as much. You're cooking and finding fun recipes. You just have to do what you have to do because we have to stay honed in on what our end goal is. And again, if we have money, we have options, with it. All right. The next point I want to, talk about is stay ready when no one's calling, right? You got to keep things current. Update your bio, update your resume. Make sure that your IMDb page is, up to date with all the projects that you have. If you have a website, work on that. Be creative. Refresh your reel, right? That's something that I'm in the process of doing right now. I need to, add more to my reel that I have. Stay active on social media. I will be the first one to admit I have not really used social media as a tool like I need to, but I have recently changed that. I feel like, with social media, you can create right there on social media. You can do short form content, you can do videos. Like I said, you're creative at all times. So you need to showcase your work, right? If you're a producer, help others produce, short form content, help others produce their reel. If you're a director, shoot it on your phone. Phones are absolutely amazing with the technology that you can do right now. You have to use social media as a tool. It is a gift. We do know that, hey, there's a blessing and a curse, but if you use it as a gift and you use it responsibly, let that work for you. You know what I mean? Someone recently told me, don't wait for opportunity to find you. Remind it that you exist. I'm going to say it one more time. Don't wait for opportunity to come find you. You have to remind it that you exist. And how do you remind it that you exist? By posting, by, actively commenting on the other people's page, like really engaging with others. I found I got the best social media friends. It's people that will support me before people that are down the street from me. Okay. I have people that like in Philly, I have people in New York. I have amazing, amazing, amazing people that are supporting me. And so you have to actively engage with their content, and just be creative with it. Have fun. I think a big thing for me, I had an insecurity of like, all right, I don't want to post. I don't want to do this. So what? Post it. Okay. Some people don't know you. And if they do, okay, it doesn't matter. Just post it. Be you. You have to be unapologetically, unafraid. My biggest word, you have to have audacity. Okay. Tap into audacity. Have audacity, right? You have to be brave. Just go ahead and do it. And so what? I mean, look, everyone is posting on social media. So don't be afraid. Have fun with it. Get creative. I see Delise is dancing, going to class. She is living her best life. And she is motivating me to just really get out there and just to create at all costs. So, you never know who you're going to inspire. So just get out there, and to do it. And again, don't wait for the opportunity to come find you. Remind you that it exists. And opportunity can't see nobody. Okay. Like if your camera's off and you're not posting it, what are they gonna come looking at? They got to find you. So you got to remind them that you are here, right? And in your downtime, right, start bartering, right? If you know how to edit and you have a friend that needs something edited, like, okay, and that friend's a great producer. All right, look, I got this concept. Let me edit your short if you help me get my project, right? What did Issa Rae say? She said, start networking across. We always want to go to the top, the head of this, when you really need to be networking with people that are on your same level. Help bring each other up. That's one of the reasons I really love having a partner. Sade, like, I feel like when we go through things, it's easier because you have someone. So I'm really grateful for that. But like in our downtime, what we're doing is we're going back over our old scripts. All right, can we rewrite? Because a big part of writing is rewriting and rewriting and rewriting. Can we refresh that? Right? Are we, how are our bios looking? Right? We recently had an EPK. Let's refresh the EPK with, any of our new stuff that's going on. Okay, do we have any ideas? We'll always send each other stuff on social media, like this might be a great idea, or that might be a great idea, and we'll outline it, right? So that when we do have some real time, we can go back and we can really flesh that out and we can really write it. You have to prepare for like what's next. Taking classes, right? Like there's all these free classes or classes that are like $10 and $5 that you can take. I always take these classes, right? Sade's a photographer. She goes on photo walks. You have to prepare, for what you want. You have to build that next thing. And it takes action. It takes movement. You can't just stay stagnant. You can't be in the corner, whoa, it's me, or no one's ever calling. Get out there, network with people, be genuine. And, it's about the follow through as well. When you're meeting these different people and classes that you're taking, if you want to shadow, I'm a big shadower, right? I remember when I transitioned from unscripted to being inscripted a bit more. So I do both unscripted and scripted. And I remember I shadowed with an amazing filmmaker, Qasim Basir. I shadowed with Nate Parker. I've shadowed on the set of The Neighborhood. Like I will go shadow and watch while I have that downtime so that I'm seeing like, okay, this is how it is. This is what you do. I'll call up friends that are DPs. I'll say, hey, can we do like a session? Can we do a lighting session? Can we do that? Now you have that free time because why? You've budgeted, right? You got a little coin saved. You got a little time. And so now you can use that time to continue your education because we know this industry is forever changing. The next point I want to, talk about is build while you wait. That's really important to me because I remember a time when we were just starting to write. I had met some writers and they were like, hey, a big part of writing is really writing. I know that sounds so simple, but it was like, I couldn't get out of my head. Sade couldn't get out of hers. So we were like, okay, we're going to form a writer's room. And so Sade and I formed a writer's room with two other people. They were two guys. And in that writer's room, my friend had an idea about a show and we created a show called For the Love of Jason. And we had 2 seasons on All Black. But before it became For the Love of Jason, we were in that writer's room. We met every week. We were at a friend's place and right in his living room, had a whiteboard. We're, arcing out our characters, figuring that out. And we wrote a full season, right? We were all unemployed. I think maybe one of us had a job. We were unemployed, but we were coming to work. We would have to go off and write some scenes. They would go off and write some scenes. We would come together. Like we wrote an entire season, right? And then after that, we were able to pitch that because we did that work in that downtime and we pitched it and we sold it and we were able to bring it to life. And so you gotta build while you wait. I also really wanted to get more into directing and I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this? So I went out and I got a grant to do a short film. And so Sade and I, we wrote this short film, we produced it, we brought it to life. So we weren't waiting, just sitting and waiting, we were, creating, we were, we didn't want to have idle hands. We really wanted to just keep that momentum going. With it, we joined a PGA fellowship. So any programs that you can get into, you really just have to push yourself. You have to go after it. You have one life. And that's it. So it's either, do you want that vision, that gift that God gave you, that he blessed you with, to be in the graveyard with you? Or do you want to say, God, all those gifts and talents that you blessed me with, I was able to, I worked with them. I did what I was supposed to do. I left it all on the table. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to leave it all on the table, right? I want to die completely empty. Okay. So you have to just, build while you wait. Get on other people's projects, right? If people are doing proof of concepts, if they're doing short films, get on those projects. I recently had some downtime, so I worked on a friend's project, and now we're going to be screening it at a film festival on November 11th in Atlanta, right? She had an amazing idea. She said, hey, will you produce on this for me? It's called Never Leave Your Side. And so I jumped on that project, with it. And I didn't write it, I didn't direct it, but I jumped on that project. So you have to, help build with other creatives and just be there. Okay. And so the next one I want to really talk about is internal work. It's your mindset, it's your maintenance. I feel like we don't really talk about it enough, but downtime can feel heavy, right? And that's okay. And you got to give yourself grace. You got to stay strong mentally, right? I am a big proponent of therapy, meditation, journaling, going on walks. You have to talk to someone, right? What did Nora say? I have to shut out an offering. You have to literally talk to people, right? I was feeling like, man, should I just quit? Because I was so frustrated. I'm like, people aren't, I feel like I can do this and I can do that. Or, I constantly compared myself to others. Comparison is a killer, right? And so you got to make sure that you're not comparing yourself to people. You got to make sure that you're giving yourself grace. You have to make sure that if you need to talk to a therapist, talk to a therapist, right? Therapy is amazing. It's freeing. If you need to make sure you're meditating, if you need to make sure you're breathing, going on walks, staying, mobile, active, moving, you have to do that. You have to give yourself grace, because again, that stress can block creativity. And, you can't, you can't be embarrassed about taking a break. You know what I mean? You have to, be okay with that. I feel like our industry, when we are working, we run ourselves into the ground, right? We run ourselves into the ground. We're so stressed. We're so this, and we're not taking care of ourselves. So we have to take care of ourselves from the inside out. You have to stay strong mentally. And that's a big part of preparing for what's next. Because I believe that if you are called to this, and this is what you're supposed to do, and you have all these prayers, I do believe the prayers are going to be answered, but are you ready when they are, right? So when God is answering your prayers, are you going to say, oh, Lord, I'm too tired, or then be begrudgingly? You done prayed on your knees for how long, asking God to bless you? Now he's finally blessing you. And, you're not prepared. You're mentally drained. And that shows up in your work. It shows up on set. And we're supposed to be an example. You know what I mean? If we're saying that we want to produce, we want to create, artists, we have a responsibility. So we have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. We can't give, from an empty cup in that sense. So we have to rest. And then also your value doesn't disappear when production wraps, right? I used to attach my value to how much I was working. And that's dangerous. So you have to know that your value when you're working, when you're not working, you have to know who you are, in that. And again, like I said, you can't pour into an empty cup, right? Like if you're empty, you can't give to your team. You can't be a good teammate if you're empty in that sense. And the last thing I want to really talk about is to really turn your preparation into an opportunity. Right. So I talked about making sure you're updating your bios and making sure you're updating all your materials. Like if you're a writer, with that, making sure that you're writing scripts, that you have outlines, that you have that, because there's times when the phone doesn't ring, but then there's time when the phone rings. And are you ready for when that time, comes? I feel like everyone wants a manager. Do you have something to manage? Right. So if you have this downtime, right, create a regimen, create a schedule, really write. If you're a producer, making sure a big part of producing is people work, building that network, a genuine network, right? Making sure you're, constantly checking in with people, check in on people from your last project, seeing what they're doing. You have to be ready. So like if you're a producer and you need to help crew up, for a film, do you know how are you going to hire this gaffer or a grip, or how are you going to crew up your team if you're not out there networking? You have to constantly stay, ready. If you are a director, right? Have you stayed up on the latest gear? Have you been taking lighting classes? Have you been shadowing, acting classes? That's a big thing that I do. I will go in and I'll shadow acting classes because I really want to develop and that relationship with the actor. Have you spoken to DPs? Have you guys chatted? Have you been chatting with editors? You really have to stay in the know. You have to prepare. You got to turn that preparation into an opportunity. Like you have to be ready for when the phone does ring. Are you ready? Are you prepared? So those are the things that I really want to talk about, like preparing for that next opportunity, and then also being okay and reframing your mind in that downtime. It's not always a bad thing. It can definitely be a blessing in disguise. And just, stay prepared. You know what I'm saying? You got, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. That's the biggest thing that I'll say, with it. Does anyone have any questions that, you want to ask? With it, I'm definitely open to that. This has been really great. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. How are you staying, prepared in this downtime if you have it? What advice have you learned? How do you get over the fear of starting? That's a really, really great question. I feel like so recently I was challenged to post 20 posts in a month. And when I say post, I mean on social media. And I don't know, I don't know why I just kind of had this nervousness or this fear, with it. But for me, I had to do it in the form of a bet. Now, I know this seems really strange, but I have a bet going with somebody that I have to post 20 times on social media before I meet with this person. And guys, it's on this Saturday when I meet with them and I haven't made it. So I got some posts to do. But if I lose, it's some money on the line. So I had to get up, I had to go. So I literally started like creating content. I downloaded this app called CapCut where I can, do some videos and just different things. And I had to get out of my head. But for me, I had to have something tangible that I was going to lose in order to do it. Now, I mean, I know everybody might not do it like as far as that, but really you have to just think like, what's the worst that could happen? For me, I say, what's the best that can happen and just go after it. So yeah, I recently just started this thing where I said, okay, I'm going to push myself out there. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to do that. And I had to put some money on the line. And so that motivated me to do it. But yeah, so just ask yourself, what's the best that could happen and go for it and just try it. And it's okay. Failure is okay. You're going to fail. You are going to fail. Let me say that you're going to fail and you're going to fail and you're going to fail again. Okay. And then you're going to fail again. But there's going to be a time when you don't fail. And, failure just, it can't be everyone fails. The most successful people in this world have failed several times. And then there was something that they did that was so great. And then it was amazing. And then they succeeded at it. So I think failure, it is a great way to learn lessons. It's a great way to, rethink a situation. And it's okay. It's okay. And in this industry, be okay with no. Be okay with no, because you're going to hear it often. Thank you. I have ideas, but the fear of rejection is super strong. It's okay. And you know what? There's been times when I've submitted a writing sample, or I've submitted for a project, and it has, and even, you know, when I first moved out here to LA, I moved out here for acting. It was jobs that I didn't get, but it had nothing to do with me. Sometimes, like, it's people are looking to fill their slate with certain things, and my project just wasn't it. There's certain typecast that people are looking for, and I didn't fit the bill. And then even, you know, that just wasn't my thing. I feel like what's for you is for you, and nobody can take that away. And it's really okay. It really is okay to be rejected, because you might hear 20 no's, but you're going to hear that one yes, and you don't know unless you try. So, like I said, when I leave this earth, I want to leave completely empty. I want to go after and fulfill everything that God has for me. I want it. I want to. And I don't want fear, you know, false evidence appearing real. I don't want that to stop me. So don't let it stop you. And guess what? If you don't do this and submit your idea, how are we going to see it? How are we going to see it? I'm waiting on you. I want to know what you got. I'm trying to see it, because I'm tired of this stuff that's on TV right now. What you got? Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Or how are you, you know, preparing for your next opportunity? You know, talk about some of the things that you're doing. Okay. Well, guys, it was really great. You know, just really chatting again. Like I said, just stay active, stay in it. Oh, we say working on scripts now. That's amazing. Okay, so like we got to make sure that as we're working on those scripts, you know what I mean, that we're giving them to someone to read, right? So we can get notes on them. And then, because a part of writing is rewriting. That's the part I hate, but it's the best part, because that's when the work really begins. It's easy to just, okay, we're gonna push out a draft, but then the rewriting and that character development and just really forcing yourself. But yeah, that's amazing. So biggest takeaways, you know, that I would say is reframe your mind. It's okay when you don't have work, you know, that's okay. Just take that time to really learn something new, read up on, you know, the latest in the industry. I would say also, for me, something that I'm learning how to do, I'm learning how to do something on the side, right? That's outside of the industry that can create a flow of revenue for me. So like I said, when you have money, you have options, and you're not so eager to just take anything that comes your way. So we have to be smart. We have to budget. Even as creatives, we have to reframe our mind and to think that, hey, how can we reshift? How can we focus? We always have to be updating our resumes, bios, content. If you have older scripts that you have, go back and refresh them. Times change, so go back and refresh them, you know, with it, and just to stay prepared. And what are some of your favorite classes? I would say it was a friend of mine. He had an acting class. His name was Felipe Figueroa. He just recently moved to the East Coast, but he had an amazing, you know, acting class, and he had an improv class. So I would go take that. There are some writing classes that, you know, that I take online. I forget the name of it. She's an amazing Black creator. She offers these writing classes. I think they're like 10 or 15 bucks. She works in a writer's room, and so she decided to do her own platform. So, you know, really, you know, doing that. I know, like I said, I know my producing partner, she goes on these amazing photo walks because she's a photographer as well, you know, with it. And then the things that I personally do, I worked with a DP. His name's Kai Madsen. I literally have classes with him, you know, every quarter, where we'll go over like what's the latest, what's new, camera work, and different things like that. So, you know, those are the things, you know, with it. And I used to take dance classes, and that brought me joy. You know, with it, I know it has nothing to do with this, but it was just an outlet. It was just an amazing way. It says, do you know if he's doing classes on the East Coast? I believe that he is. I will check in with him and I'll post in my stories. You can follow me at Deshawn Plair on IG, as well as on TikTok, and I will check in with Felipe and see what he's doing. It says, I've stopped watching and listening to negative stuff before bed and it's helped a lot. That's amazing. There is, I used to listen to rain when I fell asleep. I know my husband listens to like white noise when he falls asleep. And just, yeah, just kind of, clearing your mind. I feel like we really have to take, like our mindfulness, our prayer, with that. I feel like just some silent time, even before you wake up. Don't just reach for your phone. Before you go to bed, maybe half an hour before you go to bed, don't touch your phone at all. Don't let that light stimulate, with you. Do whatever you need to do to protect your peace, especially as creatives, yeah. And yes, dance. I know Delise takes a lot of dance classes. Why don't you get in some of those classes with her? That's amazing. Yeah. Thank you for talking about posting after reframe my mind. Yes. I mean, look, we have so many, talents. I know, Atia, you're so gifted at so many different things, singing, hair, fashion. There's so many things that it's our page, right? And if you don't like somebody, block them, okay? But it's our page. We have to reframe our mind. There are people that are waiting on us. They're waiting on our creativity. They're waiting on what we have to bring, to the table. There's so much negativity out there. So let's be a positive light with it. You have to reshape your mind. Like I said, as you prepare for like what's next, the next opportunity, reshape your mind in the downtime, right? Just say, oh, I have an opportunity to rest, right? Because when you're busy on set, we all know there's no rest. You know what I mean? So you have an opportunity to rest. You have an opportunity to grow. You have to learn opportunity, what's next, what's going on. Where our industry is constantly always evolving. You have to know what's happening. You have to read on and stay up on the latest, tap in with the PGA, tap in with the WGA, with it. The WGA has an amazing library. Tap into that, go read, scripts there, making sure that if you're a producer, you're staying up on the latest tax credits, where to shoot, what's happening, what's going on, with that. Like, you have that opportunity in this downtime, in that in-between season. You have that. So take advantage of it. It's an amazing time, if you allow it to be. And again, if you have saved and budgeted adequately, you'll be okay. And I think that's something that we don't talk about enough as creatives. We don't talk about the money enough. We don't talk about, making sure that we're setting, money aside for that. We don't talk about investing. We don't talk about, just retirement, what that looks like. There's so many things that we have to be smart about as creatives. You have to treat it as a business. You are a business. Treat yourself as one, with it, and have audacity. That's the biggest takeaway I want everyone to walk away with, is walk away with audacity. You have to have so much audacity by making sure you're taking care of yourself, your mindfulness, your body, your spirit, taking care of yourself financially, taking care of yourself creatively. How do you stay creative in those times? Like Delise is taking dance classes, what are we doing to stay creative? Because we're creative even when we're not on set. So, but yeah. Any other questions? Any other ways that people are keeping themselves creative? Okay. Well, thank you everybody for, joining in and coming in on this. I really love this platform, Real Success. I love the fact that we're taking the time out and we're talking about these things. This is an amazing platform. So thank you guys so much for supporting me. Thank you so much for those of you who have watched Glamping and, tuned in on any other projects that that I've done. I know there's going to be another trailer for a film that is on Tubi that I directed, wrote, and produced on, called First Day Back, along with my producing partner, Sade Onyade. But yeah, make sure you follow me on social media. at Deshawn Plair on Instagram, as well as on TikTok, on those platforms. And yeah, you'll see me posting a lot more. And y'all pray for me, because if I don't get the rest of these posts on Saturday, I owe some money.
Harris, there's a news crew out in the hallway.
They're doing a story on the first day back since the incident.
I go where I want to go.
Is that right?
So we just really gonna sit here and act like ain't nothing happened?
Did you have a safety plan?
This is the way it is now.
We have to present a unified front.
It's us versus them.
They have enough to worry about.
You all are my priority.
It ain't never gonna be normal.
These babies are scared every day.
It seems like nobody's losing no type of sleep over this but us.
We can't go nowhere.
This ain't the first time and it won't be the last.